Hello again, it's Mitchell. For my second theory of the first theory competency, I want to talk about the um, expectation violations theory by Judy Bergen, who was a communications scholar at the University of Arizona. With this theory, it's kind of defined as how people react to violations of social and cultural norms. So if somebody does something that doesn't go along with um, a social or cultural norm that you do, how you react to it, and what goes into this encounter. Um, so, one of the things that's talked about a lot in this theory is violation of personal space. So, personal space is defined in our text as invisible variable volume of space surrounding an individual that defines the individual's preferred distance from others. Um, in order to understand this, we look at proxemics, which is the study of people's use of space as a special elaboration of culture. So, to better understand this, we're going to look at the American zones of personal space. So, first, we're going to start with the intimate distance, which is 0 to 18 inches. So, in this distance, it's when you have intimate relations with somebody that you care for and you feel comfortable. The second is personal distance, which is 18 inches to 4 feet. So with this is how you're going to interact with people personally, and in that zone, you feel comfortable. This third one is our social distance, which is 4 to 12 feet. So whenever we're having a social encounter, this distance makes us feel comfortable in communicating with somebody. And the last distance that we're going to talk about is the public distance, which is 12 feet and over. So in the public, you feel safe. When violating social norms and personal expectations, it's seen as a superior strategy to conformity. This is important to understand because with expectations, they can cause significant influence on people's interaction patterns. So if you have an expectation about what's going to happen with your interaction with somebody, you're going to have a behavioral pattern that matches this expectation. Next, I want to talk about some of the core components of the expectation violation theory. So the first one that I want to define is the expectation. So it's what people predict will happen rather than what they desire. So if you know somebody is very personable and likes to get close when they talk, you're going to expect this to happen even though it's not what you want. So you're going to adapt your communication styles and how this conversation goes to what you predict will happen, not what you want to happen. The next one is a violation valence. So with this, it's the perceived positive or negative value assigned to breach of expectations regardless of the violator. So with this, let's use the example of a coworker coming to talk to you. So if this coworker comes and they, violate your personal distance, your personal space, you're going to have a negative value assigned to this type of behavior, regardless of who it is in your company. So you want to be able to understand that. The third one I talk about is the communicator reward valence. So it's the sum of positive and negative attributes brought to the encounter plus the potential reward or punishment in the future. So if somebody comes up and they keep their distance and you're comfortable talking to them, you're going to give them a reward in the future. Compared to if they break your personal space and you have a negative attribute contributed to them, in the future, you might punish them by telling them that they're too close or to back up or something like that. And then the last one is the interaction adaptation theory. And this one is the systematic analysis of how people adjust their approach when another person's behavior does not mesh with what is needed, anticipated, or preferred. So this is how you're going to adjust to someone coming into your personal space when it's not wanted. It's important to understand this because if it's not anticipated, preferred, or needed, you're going to react differently in different situations. And with this, the evaluation violation, expectancy violation theory is a good scientific theory because it advances a reasonable explanation. The explanation of it is relatively simple. The theory has a testable hypothesis and often practical advice on achieving important communication goals can be done through this theory. So the more you can understand this theory, the better you'll be able to communicate effectively and be able to adjust to certain specific situations that happen with a violation of your expectations. Thank you.